Hi everyone! So today we're going to do yoga with the world, and if you don't have a world, you can use a door, a closed door like I'm doing here. And let's prepare 2 blocks with you and start sitting with your back against the wall. So put your hip really close, touching your hip to the wall, and stick your back here. So you're sitting up straight. Close your eyes and calm down. Try to press your shoulders to the wall. And now you can feel your lower back is not sticking into the wall. That is very normal. But try to put your sacrum into the wall and you will feel your spine curving in. That means it's not touching the wall. And then touch the wall again in your upper back. And then not touching the wall again at your neck. So we all know that the spine is not straight. In its neutral position, it curves in and out. And now that you're sitting here, you feel it the most. Inhale, feel like you're getting taller in the world. And exhale. Keep your face relaxed. And then exhale. So open your eyes. Keep your spine exactly like this and bring your legs in front of you. Always try to push your hips to the wall and see how much you can straighten your legs and still pushing your hips to the wall. Make sure that you still have a neutral spine. That means your lower back will not be touching the wall. And flex your toes up to the sky. This pose is called Dandasana in yoga, which means staff pose. I don't know which staff it refers to, but you should look like a letter L. And point your toes up. So if you feel like your back is getting rounded, bend your knees and really push your hips into the wall, your shoulders into the wall, and tighten your belly in. Bring your arms over your head. Dandasana pose. If you can press your knees down to the floor and still keep the L shape, that's awesome. Let's do that. And stay here. So inhale, lift yourself up taller and longer into the wall. And exhale. Inhale one more time. And exhale. And slowly get out of this pose and sit with your legs opening. We're going to do this pose again, but I would like to share to you that when in the first years that I did yoga, that I started yoga, I could not sit in this pose because my back is always rounded. So and my pelvis tend to tilt back. That make my hamstring very short, and I'm often rounded on my lower back. So in the first years when I did yoga, in order to sit like that, I have to bend my knees a lot, or I have to sit on blocks. So now, if you feel like you are very rounded, that's absolutely fine. You just keep bending your knees, and then through the progress of doing yoga, you're going to straighten your legs more and more. Okay, so this is the L shape that we're going to mention today. L shape, that means you are like 90 degree flexing in your hips. Let's do Dandasana pose one more time. And this time, let's point your toes, so make it a bit different. Push your hip toward the wall, point your toes, and push your knees down to the floor. Hug your belly in, and make your lower back curve out of the wall. Bring your arms over your head. So this pose looks kind of like a downward facing dog pose. Downward facing dog is an L shape too, but it's put in another orientation on the floor. One more time, inhale and exhale. Let's get out of the wall and go to a table pose. Once you're in table, let's put your right foot on the wall and look. Make sure your right toes are pointing down to the floor. You move forward until your right leg will be straight and pushing into the wall. So don't be too far away. Make sure you can still push your right foot into the wall and stay here. Look and take your toes all the time and hug your belly up. So kick into the wall and hug your belly up. And see if you can do this without touching the wall. So make your leg really strong and move forward just a little bit. Stay here and bring your left arm up too. Reaching your foot back. If you want to touch the wall, if you're touching it, that's great. And reaching your hand forward. Inhale. Keep kicking your foot into the wall. And exhale. Inhale one more time. And exhale. Put your left hand down to the floor. And now bring your left foot behind you and turn your right foot on the wall so that now your toes are pointing to the side. And open yourself out. Keep your foot as high as your hip and fix your position so that your leg is straight and pushing into the wall. And bring your arms up. And stay here. Always push into the wall. And push your hip forward. So don't point your butt back. Try to push your hip forward. For one more time. And then let's go back and get out of this pose. Downward facing dog. Exhale. And inhale, plank pose. Bring your knees down to the floor and lay down to the floor. Cobra pose as you inhale. And plank pose again. For today, let's stay in plank for a while. About 5 breaths. Put your shoulder right above your wrist. Inhale and exhale, squeeze your belly up. Press your hands down to the floor. And then slowly move your shoulder forward. So now you feel heavier on your fingers. And then go back. In the next 2 breaths, let's do the same. Inhale, move your shoulder forward. And exhale, go back. If you feel so tired, you can bring your knees to the floor, but do the same thing. Inhale and exhale. Then downward facing dog. Think of the L shape we did on the floor and try to do that on down dog. Try to push your hip up, just like how you push your hip into the wall. And then bring your knees down to the floor again. If you feel tired in your hands, let's bring your hands, the top of your hand down to the floor. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. And the other side too. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release. And prepare for your left foot on the wall. So look underneath your legs and really put your left foot on the wall as high as your hip, pointing the left toes down to the floor. And stay here. Fix your pose so that your leg will be straight and pushing into the wall. Inhale and exhale. Push more of your heel. And see if you can still keep pointing your toes down to the floor and move the foot away from the wall. Bring your right hand. Kick your foot back so much. It's like your legs become longer and reach your right hand forward. Keep reaching and reaching. Inhale and exhale. For one more time, kick the foot very much into the wall. Really feel your legs so strong. And reach your hands further away. And bring your hand down to the floor. Let's turn your right foot behind you on the right side. It's like it's 90 degrees here. And then put your left foot on the wall, pointing your toes to the side, as high as your hip. Push your hip forward, open yourself, and bring the other arm up. So what do you think this pose look like? It look a lot like a half moon pose. Keep pushing the foot into the wall and push your hip forward. Inhale for one more time. And exhale, slowly get out of this pose. Whew. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Plank pose. And then let's do the rocking plank one more time. So this time for 5 breaths. Inhale, move your shoulder forward really much. And exhale, go back. Make sure that you always pushing your hands down to the floor and do it on the next 4 breaths on your own. If you feel really tired on your wrist, you can bring your knees down to the floor, but keep rocking forward and back. We want to train your fingers to be stronger, and we want to train your wrist to hold body weight when it is in extension, which means this position it is in now. So once you're done, let's go back to the table. And point your wrist, point your fingers toward your body. Now let's bend your elbows slightly and move yourself forward to the side, back, and to the other side. So make yourself turning like a circle here. Circle. Make the circle bigger and bigger. And then change direction. And then we will sit down on the floor. You hold your hands and give it some nice relaxing movement. Then going to do a sun salutation, so downward facing dog. Look forward and step your feet forward to your hands. Inhale halfway up, so you can see that this is another L shape. Bring your arms over your head. So it looked like the L shape we did on the floor. Raise your heels up so it look even more like that. Bend your knees slightly so that you can really make your back flat. That means your spine neutral. Take one more breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Forward bend. Heels down to the floor. Slowly stand up from here. Inhale. Bring your arms over your head. And exhale. Hands in front of your heart. Tadasana pose. Keep your eyes closed. Calm down before we do the sun salutation. Stand at the front of your mat. Inhale, chair pose. And exhale, forward bend. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward bend. Step your right foot back a long step. Inhale, high lunge. And exhale, bring your back foot down to the floor. Warrior 2. Inhale, and when you exhale, hands down to the floor. Plank pose. Stay in plank for 5 breaths. And move yourself forward and back in the 5 breaths. So maybe inhale, move forward. And exhale, move back. Really challenge your wrist and tighten your whole body so you are stiff like a plank, like a wooden plank pose. Go forward and back. Knees down to the floor and lay down to the floor. Inhale, cobra pose. See if you can push your arm a bit straighter and bring your shoulders down. And exhale, downward facing dog. The L shape here. Lift your heels up high and down dog. Inhale. And exhale, raise your right leg up. Now let's come a bit closer to the wall. Bring your hands closer to the wall and put your right foot to the wall here. You can even step your left foot closer to the wall too. Down dog split. Imagine you are pushing your chest towards the floor so that you encourage the stretch and reach your foot higher and higher on the wall. Stay here for one more breath. And move your shoulders forward and step your right foot forward. We're going to high lunge pose. Inhale, bring your arms up. And exhale, warrior two. And bring both hands down to the floor as you exhale and step your back foot forward. Forward bend, exhale. Inhale, halfway up. The L shape here. Bring your hands in front of you and then raise your heels up. You can bend your knees slightly, but think of arcing your back so that you're in an L shape. You're not rounded in your spine. And slowly stand up. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, hands in front of your heart. Take a small break here before we try the other side. So inhale, chair pose. And exhale, forward bend. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward bend. Step your left foot back this time, a long step, high lunge. Inhale. And exhale, bring your heel down to the floor. Turn yourself to the side, warrior two. Inhale here. And exhale, both hands to the floor. Step your front foot back in plank pose. 5 times move forward and back in plank here. Remember to breathe. So don't stop breathing. You don't have to move as fast as me. And listen to your breath. And go wherever your breath tells you to go. I'm done with my 5 breaths. I'm going back to plank to wait for you. And then I will just lay down to the floor. Inhale, cobra pose. And exhale, downward facing dog. Now you're quite close to the wall with your heels. We're going to lift your left leg up, down dog split. You can put your left foot on the wall here. Your left toes will be on the wall. You can walk your hands closer so that you make more and more of a stretch for your legs. Your legs go really high up and your right leg will receive the stretch. Anytime you feel like you can walk your hand closer to your foot, you do that. We stay here for a while. You can bend your knees, that's fine. And then let's bend your left knee and step your left foot forward. High lunge pose. So prepare the pose, make sure the lunge is long. Bring your arms up, inhale. And then exhale, warrior two. Arms out, inhale. Exhale, hands down to the floor. Step your back foot forward. Forward bend as you exhale. Inhale, halfway up. The L shape, bring your arms over your head. This time make your hands look like plank pose. Keep pushing your hands forward and make your spine neutral. So arc your back a little bit. Lift your heels up. Inhale and exhale, forward bend. Let's stand up. Inhale, bring your arms over your head. And exhale, hands in front of your heart. Close your eyes and stay here. Now let's prepare 2 blocks for you so that we can do the warrior 3, half moon and twisted half moon with the whirl. At first, let's turn yourself to the whirl and put your foot on the whirl. Make sure that you look like an L shape here with your legs. So if your leg is too far away like here, you walk your foot a bit closer. Here. Your hip should be right on the top of your ankle. And then remember this point. And turn your foot to the other side. So we are now facing the other way from the whirl. Let's do a halfway up. So another L shape here, 90 degrees at your hip. And hold the blocks underneath your hands. You can bend your knees slightly and arc your spine so your back will be flat. Check your own back. If it's rounded, bend your knees and tilt your tailbone up like in the cow pose. From here, let's walk the block slightly to the left side, so that your left foot will be pointing right at the middle of these blocks. Look underneath your legs and pick your right leg up and put it on the whirl so that your right heel will be as high as your hip and all your right toes are pointing down to the floor. Warrior 3. Pushing your heel to the whirl very much. And then arc your spine. Imagine you are reaching your head forward and you're pushing the heel backward. Look at your toes on the floor, make sure they are still pointing forward, and your knee too. Don't let your knee collapsing in. And maybe you can release your hands from the blocks, one hand at a time. Oh, this is so much. And then you can slowly bring your hands back to hold the block. Okay, you can get out of this pose and get back in again. Or you can keep your left hand here and turn your toes to the right side. So you can look from the under and see your toes pointing to the right side. You turn your whole body, including your hip, to the right side too. And bring your arms over your head. Look down to the leg on the floor. Make sure that the toes are still pointing forward. Look down to your legs on the floor and make sure your toes are still pointing forward. And your knee too. So don't point your toes in and don't collapse your knee in. And turn yourself to the side more. You can bend your standing knee slightly. And slowly get out of this pose. And put your foot down to the floor. Give your legs some nice shake. How was it? I like this. It feels really nice. Okay. And then we're going to change side. So warrior 3 again. Find the blocks. Be in the table pose. Use your own hand to check your spine. Make sure that it's flat. And by flat, I mean neutral spine. Your back will be flat. Now walk the blocks to the right side. Look underneath your legs and pick your left foot up and put your foot on the wall with your toes pointing down. Warrior 3 here. Push your heel back into the wall and reach your head and your heart forward, lengthening your body. Make sure that your toes on the floor are still pointing straight ahead and your knee is pointing out. So don't collapse your knees in and don't point your toes in. Keep pushing with your leg, really strong. One foot stepping on the floor and one is pushing in the wall very strongly. And see if you can get rid of the blocks. One hand at a time. It feels really much. It's so strong. Oops. And then I will get out of this pose. So you can get out of it and then go in half moon, or you can just stay here and hold your right hand on the block. At first turn your toes to the side. You can look underneath your hip and see your toes pointing to the left side. And then stack your hips to each other. Now your hip is turning to the left and your belly too. Half moon pose. You can point your hand to the ceiling, but the leg on the floor, still the toes pointing forward. And the knee. Don't point your toes in. It's much easier to stand in this pose with your toes pointing in. But don't do that. We're going to train this leg to work here in this position. Open yourself more and more. And then find your way back. So hand down to the block. Get out of this pose. And give yourself some shaking. How was it? I really love this. We're going to do warrior 3 again. And then we go to twisted half moon pose. So stand at that point again. If you forgot where it is, measure yourself. And stand on the floor. L shape. Bring your hands on the blocks. Put the blocks a bit to the left side and then put your right foot to the wall. Make sure that your right toes are pointing down toward the floor. If you feel like you're too far away, step your standing foot back a little bit. Warrior 3. And now you're going to hold only the blocks with your right hand. You lift your left hand from the blocks and you turn yourself to the left side and twist. Try not to change your leg position at all. You only twist to the left side. Inhale and exhale, squeeze your belly in. Kick your right foot into the wall so much that it will not change position. Fix it there. And turn yourself more. And more. You want to bring your whole chest to the side as if it was a half moon pose. It's fine if you bending your knee. And slowly get out of this. And get your foot down. Stand up, take some small break here, shake your legs if you want to. And calm yourself down before we change side. And then we do the other side. So L shape, letter L. Hands onto the blocks, check your back, check your spine, make sure that it's flat, it's neutral. Move the block slightly to the right side and put your left foot on the wall. Stay here and feel your pose. If you feel too far away from the wall, you can walk your front foot back a little bit. Look and really see that your foot is pointing down to the floor. And now hold the block with your left hand, release your right hand and turn yourself to the right side. Twisted half moon. It's a very powerful pose. You have to keep your back leg exactly here. Don't change your back leg at all. Every time you exhale, you can twist more. And you want to bring your chest fully to the side, just like we did in half moon. One more breath. Slowly get out of this pose. And take a break. How was it? Now we're going to make the 3 poses, these 3 in a row. So we're going to make these 3 poses together. So let's start in Warrior 3. Bring the blocks to the left side slightly so that you can bring your right leg up to the wall. Feel your pose first and don't move until you are stable in this first step. Once you are here, Warrior 3 first. Lengthen your spine forward. Make sure your hip is square. You can use your own hand to check that. And then we turn to twist. And then we go to half moon pose. So prepare your left hand, point your toes to the right side. Keep your standing leg exactly the same. Don't change anything about it. Don't point your toe in. And now half moon. From half moon, we're going to go back into Warrior 3 and then go to twisted half moon. So point your toes down and then your whole body will go down into Warrior 3. Once you are here, check your toes. Make sure that they are looking down, pointing down to the floor. And bring your left arm up. Inhale deeply. And exhale. Twist more every time you exhale. And then slowly get out of this pose. Hands down to the block. Release your foot. Step down to the floor and slowly stand up. Take a break before we change side. And now let's try this on your standing on your right leg. Move the block slightly to the right side. Put your left foot on the wall, pointing your toes down to the floor. And make your spine neutral, so arc your back a little bit. Stay here in Warrior 3 and feel it. Really push your foot into the wall. Reach your head and your chest forward. One more breath. And then we're going to try half moon, so point your toes to the side first. Don't change your standing leg at all. Only turn your body to the side. And still kicking your foot into the wall. And slowly bring your hand back and turn your back foot so that your toes will be pointing the floor again. And now we're ready to go twisted half moon. Really look underneath and see your hips and your foot position. Keep your hand on the left side. You can change the position of your block so that you are stable. And you can pick your right leg up and twist to the side. Always kick your foot into the wall. Don't change your back foot. Don't change your front foot. Don't change anything on your leg. Just twist to the side. One more breath. And then slowly get out of this. Ooh, these poses are so powerful. I love these 3 poses because they look very simple. But they are very strong and powerful. I'm tired. How are you? So now, something crazy. We're going to try the handstand, L-shaped handstand. You can remove the blocks to the side and don't be scared. It will not be too crazy. Let's start in the table pose and try to put one foot on the wall. Fix yourself, change your position so that your leg is now kicking into the wall. Push that foot into the wall so much that you can pick the leg on the floor up and set it back into a plank pose. So now you're in plank with only one leg on the floor. Stay here and try to push the floor away from you. 5 breaths. Every time you exhale, push the floor further away from you and further away from you. And bring that foot down to the floor and bring your knees down. Child's pose. Take a break here. And then let's change to the other side. Look underneath, put your left foot on the wall, point your toes down. Push the foot into the wall so much, straighten your knee, that you can bring your right knee off the floor. One leg plank pose. Stay here for 5 breaths. Try to make your legs really strong, just like in the child balancing poses we did before. And feel your whole body shaking. That's great, building up the strength. Every time you exhale, tuck your belly up, push the floor away from you. And stick your whole hands on the floor for one last time. And then knees down to the floor. And child's pose. Open your palms up. Bend your elbows so that you can touch the back side of your chest. And bring your hands down to the floor. Inhale, cobra pose. Stretch your belly a little bit. And exhale, downward facing dog. Remember the L shape. Try to make your down dog look like an L shape. Scanning through your body and make it an L shape. So you really have to use your imagination here because you cannot see your body. And let's sit down to the floor and take a break. So the first crazy thing, we're going to do plank with no feet on the floor. Both of your feet will be on the wall. Let's try that. So bring your hands on the floor and try with one leg. See if that leg can straighten and push into the wall. Fix your pose. Make sure that the toes are pointing down to the floor. Bring your hands a bit closer to you. And then bring the other leg up and into the wall. And try to be here. So you push the floor away from you. And you push your feet into the wall. And you start pushing. So in this plank, your butt will be higher than your shoulder. For one more breath. And then let's go down to the floor. Oh my God. I think this pose is harder than a handstand actually. Whew. So relax your wrist. one trick is that you can put your hand underneath your knee and sit on them. And then we're going to try the L-shaped handstand. So L-shaped handstand, we will stand one leg away from the wall, just like we did before. You will put your hand there. So put your hand where you measured before and a bit forward. You need that because it's the first time we do it today. From here, downward facing dog, and then bend your right knee and put your right foot on the wall somewhere like at your hip level. So keep your heel tucking to your butt and put your toes on the wall. Push your right foot into the wall so much that your leg will go up and put them together into the wall. You can point your toes and you can bend your knees a little bit, but think of bringing your hip right on the top of your hands. You don't have to look between your hands, look something on the mat so that you don't have to raise your head up like this. Keep your head neutral and then go down to the floor. So that's the first L-shaped handstand. Bring your forearms down to the floor, squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. We're going to try with the other leg. If you fall out of the pose, if you feel like it's way too much for you today, you get out of it and then you go into it again. So you can just hold like 1 second, that's fine. And when you are ready, we're going to try the other side. If you forgot where you put your hands, you can put your legs on the wall and measure yourself. Downward facing dog first, and then bend your left foot, and then bend your left knee. Bring your heel close to your butt and then put your toes there. So you don't have to go higher. And then kick your leg so much and straighten that knee so that you can bring the other leg on the wall too. You don't have to look between your hands. Look down to the mat. And imagine you are pushing your hip right on the top of your arm, of your hands, so that you are in a little L shape. And then let's go down to the floor. You like it? Give your hands some nice shaking. So I'm going to try one more time. You can try with me. And this time we have an option of lifting one leg up. But if that sounds like a scary thing to you, just do the L-shaped handstand and that's enough for you. Okay? So give your hands some nice movement first. This is really fun and challenging at the same time. Right. So hands down to the floor. Make sure that all your hands will be on the floor, even this part between your thumb and your index finger. And then let's go to downward facing dog. Bend your right knee, put your foot at your buttock level, and go to an L shape, little L. You can just stay here, or if you want, lift your left toes off the wall and make sure they're still looking down to the floor. So don't open your hip. And here you are. Take about 1, 2, or 3 breaths here. It's very much, but try to inhale and exhale even in this situation. And then let's go down to the floor. And take a breath. When you are ready, we're going to try the other side. Oh, my arms. All right, let's try it. Down dog. Bend your left knee, put your left toes where your buttock is. Straighten your left knee so that you are in L shape. Stay here, or if you want more, pick your right foot up. Look and really check that your right toe is pointing down to the floor. And lift your leg up. So you are here. Just listen to your body. You don't have to look beautiful or do anything here. Just feel your breath. For one more breath. And then slowly get down to the floor. Oh, cool. And sit down. It's so tiring, but I like it. Move your hands in nice movement. Now let's sit down on your left hand. So you sit with your buttock on your left hand, and you want to pull that hand out, but your buttock is holding you in. And bring your head to the right side. Bring your head more and more to the right side for the big stretch. And then get out of this pose. You do the same with the other hand. Sit on your right hand, and you want to pull your hand out, but your buttock don't let you. And pull your head to the left side. And slowly get out of this pose too. And find your way to do an L shape on the wall, but a very relaxing one. So put your butt in the wall. You turn your legs to one side and you really put your butt to the wall. And bring your legs up into the wall with your butt sticking to the wall. You are here. Close your eyes, put your hands on your belly. I don't have a big space of wall at home, but if you do have very large wall, you can bring your legs out in a split. And it's very nice. I really recommend you do that. But I don't have enough space, so I will just be here. Close your eyes. And this will be your Savasana today. Let your hips sink down to the floor. So we make different L shape. We became different letter L today, but depend on your orientation compared to the floor. The gravity of the earth will feel different on your body. This pose is so easy, but some pose is so hard, even if it's the same shape. So I highly recommend you open your legs like a shadow split. But if you don't have enough space, just like me, you can stay here. Legs up the wall is a very gentle variation of an inversion. If you stand a lot or sit a lot, you can do this pose once in a while to help your blood circulation, to bring blood away from your legs and go back to your heart. If you don't like neither of the pose, you can just leave the wall and go to Savasana. Observe how your body relaxes and your heart calms down. To get out of this pose, if you are opening your legs, hold your hands next to your buttock and bring your legs together. Then bend your knees and then bring your legs to the left side. So it's a twist this time. Keep your legs on the floor and open yourself to the right side for the twist. And then come back to the center and bring both legs to the right side for the twist. Put them on the floor and open yourself to the left side. Then let's bring yourself to one side and crawl out of the pose. So you sit in a sitting pose. If you want to take a savasana and rest, please lay down on the floor and do that. So this is a very fun class, and I really love these poses. They're very simple. When you look at them, you know where you put your arms and your legs. Especially in Warrior 3, Half Moon and Twisted Half Moon. But they're actually really strong and energetic. So once you master these simple standing poses, you will do crazy poses like handstand or arm balancing or such. So thank you very much and see you. Namaste.